Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Digital Accessibility Liaisons. My name is Alejandra, and I'll be your host today. And I have a few things that I'd like to talk about, and then we have a guest speaker and a guest pet who wants to join us in the meeting today. So sorry. All right. So here's our agenda for today. We will be welcoming you. So hello, welcome everybody. Feel welcome to share an emoji or something that's making you happy about spring. Any sort of feelings that you're having about what's happening. We have about a month left until little over a month left until the deadline happens. So I hope everything's going well with you, and it would be good to hear from you if you're struggling or if everything is going well. Just let me know. And then we've got some updates. And then our guest speaker today will be Tafati Sen. She will be talking about STEM accessibility. So I'm super excited to hear about it. And then we'll leave the last 15 minutes for open discussion and question and answer in case you'd like to go over any questions or issues you're experiencing. Okay, so on my end, I wanted to say thank you for those of you who have been appointed by your unit or you are volunteering to be a liaison. Thank you so much for confirming your role with me. I now have a confirmed list of liaisons, and it has been sent to Nate's team, and Nate's team is working on putting those on the website. So I know right now the website looks like there's like a bunch of people that are no longer here that are still considered liaisons or distributed tech leads or whatever. Don't worry about it. It's getting changed, and I'm working on it as fast as I can. And the feedback can only go so fast. So please, I appreciate your patience, but it's coming. And again, thank you so much for confirming your liaison role. Um, and then Nate, I think I saw you in the room.
I'm here.
Yep, great. We had a couple of updates from last time about wanting to implement an agenda topic rubric and a PDF strategy. Are there any updates about those?
So I do have a initial version of an agenda rubric that I will love to share with you all to take a look and just kind of give your thoughts and feels on it. Um, the goal and the idea with this agenda topic rubric is really to not feel like we need to be stressed to have a presentation every month, which can be a little bit overbearing to try to find someone who can come in. But instead, it's like, let's talk about the things that are happening within the accessibility community too. And this rubric would be like, okay, what would be valid things to bring to this group to talk about this or that? It's not so much like updates about like what you're doing in your area, but it's more like, hey, we're seeing a trend in this, and then we can talk about it, right? So, um, um, Alejandro, what would be the best way just to drop this document for I don't want to drop it in the Slack or sorry, in the Zoom comments because then that gets lost. But a best place to drop the doc for everybody to take a look at and just put their thoughts and comments on it. You're on mute.
Always on mute. So I'm so sorry. Maybe we could email it out and see if anybody would like to make comments. We could also, but we've got quite a few people, so I wonder if there could be a smaller committee of people that would be willing to make comments on the document. Um, and usually when I ask for a committee, usually like 4 or 5 people come on board, which should be enough, but I'm not sure if that's going to be representative of all the liaisons and the stakeholders that we address. So, yep, we can share it with the DAL leads for sure. We can start with that, Kenna. It's a great idea. Does that sound good, Dee?
Yeah, that's fine. We can share up the leads too, and then we can maybe dedicate 10 minutes in a future liaison meeting to just, hey, this is what we have got and kind of do a run through, read through of it.
Perfect. Perfect. And I mean, if you feel like you need to speak up and talk about this particular document. If this sounds like a passion of yours, also let me know because, the more comments we get, the merrier. But I hear you. We don't want to overwhelm the group with, a document and suddenly everyone's in it making comments. So I get that. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for creating the rubric, Nate. I really appreciate that. That's going to be super helpful for this team. Are there any updates on the PDF strategy?
Yes, I do have updates on the PDF strategy. Okay, so first, let me just set the stage, right? When it comes to remediating PDFs, if you've got thousands of PDFs that you think you have to remediate, try to look at just focusing on any PDFs that are in circulation, that are public facing, that are still very much actively used. This could be courses, this could be department related PDFs, maybe if you send stuff to students or etc. Do those first, right? And then anything that's not in circulation anymore, just think about just archiving it because to remediate everything, that just seems overwhelming. Um, Now, in terms of the tool, I have been in conversation with basically three vendors over the past several weeks, just kind of get an idea of um, the tool that they have and the cost and licenses, et cetera, like that. And I do have they are ready to do like a POC with me. And so I think I've got a list of names already of people who want to participate and trying out these other PDF remediation tools. Goal is Equidox is not going to be renewed at the enterprise license level a year from now. And instead, we're going to look at hopefully a tool that can replace Equidox, and that is definitely going to be a lot. Sorry, it's going to be more adopted by everybody, and versus just a handful of people, right? Uh, so in the coming weeks, as I coordinate sometimes with the vendors, I will reach out and get, stuff on everybody's calendar to do maybe a walkthrough with the vendor, like how you upload documents, that kind of stuff. Let's just be honest, it's not going to be pretty, right? At first, like their interface is not going to be set up and designed how we want it, but it's all about the functionality of these tools. And if what we push through um, is returning to us closer what we want to get our PDFs to, right? Obviously, nothing's ever 100%, but you want to just be able to make minor changes to something that you get kicked back from a tool versus, it only covers 50%, right? Then there's like not paying for something that, that doesn't get you closer to a more remediated PDF. In addition to, so think about if you are going to be a member of this POC testing out, think about the type of PDFs that you struggle with to remediate, right? And bring those to the table and we'll give them our hardest PDFs and see what happens. So expect something probably in April, right? Some communications sometime in April.
There are some questions in the chat. Um, some comments about being sad about Equinox and not being sad about Equinox. It's okay to have two feelings at once. I love it. When exactly is Equinox going away? That's what we want
But
to know.
uh end of this year, end of this calendar year. Yeah. We just renewed it for another year so we can take this opportunity to try out new solutions.
So Nate, when you say calendar year, you mean December 31st of 2026?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and the other reason why. So do we all go through the security review process, right? When we purchase software. So the last time it was renewed, at the enterprise level, right? So sales was the original users of Equidox. And it doesn't mean that sales won't just pick up a small license of Equidox if they wanted to keep going with it. But when it went from one group using it to enterprise level, the original person who pushed it through said, "Oh no sensitive information like this or that is going to be on this," and so it just went right through purchasing security review. And so when the renewal came up this year, I was like, "Well, that seems like there's a possibility that there could be one person at one time that would upload a PDF with some sort of sensitive information, especially, when you have a product that's enterprise wide, right? Like, so I put on there, there's a possibility that this could happen. Well, when the security team sent over the security questions to the vendor, they couldn't answer a lot of things like, do you have a SOC 2 compliance, right? Do you have a penetration test, that kind of stuff? They were like saying, no, no, no. It's like, so that puts Equidocs at, a risk to continue to renew year over year if they can't prove um, that they have a legitimate security protocols around the tool. Um, and so that's like another reason why its likelihood is low, to be honest, but still, we want to have something in place in which has better security protocols. And not that we should be uploading. I don't recommend ever uploading a PDF to any system that may have sensitive information. Do the remediation locally, just to keep, you know, you can't guarantee there won't be a breach, right, kind of thing. So, but nonetheless, we would want all our vendors to be able to meet ASU standards when it comes to security.
So it really wasn't about the user experience. It was more about the security review that caused us to drop
It's
them.
both. Yeah. So we have so there are some user experience concerns really on the course side of things, that it's not remediating certain courses very well. So plus it never really went through a POC to kind of get people's feels about what they thought of the tool. It just kind of boom, it's been enterprise wide. And so we really want to make sure that we have a majority of people that have that across various departments have tried and say, yeah, we like this, we don't like this, versus just we blindly purchase something and then expect the community to use it.
Okay. Are there any questions about this change? It sounds like a pretty significant change. Do we need to, would we like to discuss it? Comments are coming in. Okay. Let's see here. And then, oh yes, the last thing was the IT accessibility lead role. Are there any, I'm going to spotlight you again. Are there any updates with that role?
Yeah. The position is closed and we're working through interviews right now.
Great. Good luck to the interviewees. Awesome. Okay, wonderful. So I might keep going on my little. All right, I think that's it. That's all I've got. All right, I'm gonna unspotlight you. Okay, let's change gears. If there are no more questions or comments, Tapati, would you be ready to present?
Sure.
Okay. Here,
Am I
I'll
able
spot.
to
You're able to
share?
share. You're able to share, and I just spotlighted you.
Okay, so I'm going to just talk about a presentation uh, that we did at the Folk Fest. So I co-presented with Amy Nettles from John Schufeldt School of Medicine and Medical Engineering. I think she was here. I saw her earlier. And Nisa from School of Mathematical and Natural Sciences. I didn't see her earlier, but so we had co-presented this presentation at the Folk Fest earlier this year. So I just wanted to kind of, because it was a short notice, I said, okay, this is a good one that we can present. Um, and it's short also, it'll not take a very long time to present. So we talked about some STEM kind of examples that we usually come across. I mean, the STEM faculty, they usually come across these problems when they are trying to make their STEM content accessible. So, complex images in biology, handwritten documents in math, handwritten notes in chemistry. Those are the three examples that we went over. And it's mainly kind of some AI strategies and solutions that we had proposed or kind of shared that we had kind of experimented with, and it's always we tell faculty that it's your judgment finally. I mean, you can't rely completely on anything that you're getting from AI, even though it might take you a long way. It might speed up your process, but the last judgment is still yours. So I'll just go over those three examples quickly, and then we can also have some little bit of time for any questions that you might have. So complex images in biology, and Amy, feel free to hop in whenever. Is she still there? Okay.
I'm here. You're doing great.
Okay.
Now.
Thank you. So the challenge with complex images and diagrams is that they, if you want a screen reader, if somebody is using a screen reader and there's no description or no alt text to an image, then the person who's using that assistive technology has no clue what that image is. And if that image is kind of very related to what the text is, and they just lose that information, right? So that's one problem. And then the other problem also that we face is when we are trying to give quiz questions based on an image. And then either the image is just a short alternative text that is not really describing the image, or the description is so heavy that it gives away the answer, right? So let's go over quickly what we are talking about when we say alt text versus long description. So alt text is just a quick context and function. So it gives a very small, little, concise description of the image, whereas a long description will have a detailed visual kind of a story of what that image is all about, going more into the details. So with the length, alt text is mainly, if you go to Canvas and you try to put a long text that's more than 120 characters, it'll flag. So it's really small, within 125 characters, whereas long descriptions can be longer, some sentences, paragraphs, based on how much of description that diagram needs. With also sometimes when the image doesn't work or it doesn't load, you can still, if you hover the mouse over the image, the alt text can show up. And so that's, it benefits not just the ones who are using assistive technology, it's also benefits anybody else, right? So it's when you do these changes, it benefits everybody. Long descriptions can be added as captions, they can be added in the body of the text, or they can also be linked out. So say you have an alt text like this, diagram of an animal cell with labeled components. And somebody who's using a screen reader gets this information. But then you give them a quiz question. What do the wavy red lines represent, now the person who's using the screen reader has no clue what the wavy red lines it's talking about the question, right? So the person who just has this all text as a visual doesn't necessarily see where the wavy lines are. It could be here, it could be inside the nucleus and the cytoplasm, where what wavy lines, right? So that's where the long description is really important. And the long description may look as long as this. I mean, it describing all the organelles that are in the cell, and sometimes it'll the wavy red lines representing chromatin. So now if you have generated this long description earlier, you don't if you're doing a quiz, now it's your turn to go and look at the long description, making sure that it's not giving away that information that the quiz is asking, right? So so that's where we can use AI to kind of, use it just to speed up your process. Now, you can just, I mean, it could be really complex images, and you don't want to like go and read that complex description and make those changes. So just to speed up that process, you can use AI. You can actually also generate those image descriptions using AI. We have the ASU online tools. One of them is the image accessibility creator, and you can use that one for generating the long descriptions. And it does a pretty decent job, but again, human judgment is always key. So that can speed up just creating your long descriptions. And then you can paste those as images or as links in your Canvas pages or any documents that you're sharing with your students. And as far as revising, if you have to revise those descriptions for quizzes, again, you can use your enterprise chat GPT, and you just give it the long description, give it the quiz question, and then say, revise it so that it doesn't reveal the answer, and it'll probably do a decent job there too. Again, your judgment, you have to review and make sure that it's done what you wanted it to do. And then design tip is, visually you can de-emphasize. If you are using that long description in the text below the image, just de-emphasize it by using a different color maybe, or a little muted color, just to differentiate it so that, it's not too much of a cognitive load for regular students that are not using assistive technology. And then it might look something like this. So, use a different color, and then just place it right below, or you can also use it, put a link underneath. So this one looks like that. And it's, you don't want too much of redundant information also is not good for regular users that are, if they are seeing the image, they don't want to see the same information in the description. So that's kind of tricky. Or you can use a link, which also works, but it takes them to a different place, and the navigation might be a little tricky, but that's another option, to use a link. So key takeaways from this is that, every meaningful image should have an alt text. Complex images should definitely have long descriptions, and the descriptions should make sense without seeing the image. So that's where your judgment comes into play. So again, accessibility is more than a checklist, right? It's a design judgment that you have to make. So next is a math example that I will share. Again, with math, if we, math uses a lot of equations, diagrams, it has problem-solving steps, and we've come across a lot of handwritten scanned documents that have equations and expressions. And screen readers cannot interpret that kind of content unless it is structured properly. So the structure is what is of great importance whenever you want screen readers to read anything. So how do we remove those barriers? Handwritten equations and problem solving steps are some of the barriers. PDFs with scanned STEM content, that can be a barrier. Mixed format documents, sometimes faculty, they use document readers, and they probably have like a questionnaire that they are trying to solve on the questionnaire itself. So there's some mixed format. Some of the questions are typed, whereas the solutions are handwritten. So those kinds of situations, equations embedded in line with the text, screen readers have a hard time reading or parsing those. Diagrams and graphs without textual explanations can be a barrier. So the core principles for any kind of math, when we are talking about math being accessible, is that, just paying attention to the structure. So when I say structure, I mean, say in Microsoft Word, you're using the math equation editor to create all your equations. That that by itself will make it uh, um, accessible for screen readers to read that equation. So equations must be programmatically readable. Even in Canvas, we have the RCEs have an equation editor. Use those. So um, uh, in um, in PowerPoints also, when you're creating your slide decks, make sure you're using those equation editors. So programmatically readable equations separated from prose, try to keep your equations in a separate line. That way it's easier for screen readers to read those. Entered in compatible formats. So when you're trying to use an AI chatbot to kind of remediate such kind of documents, you have to use those terms that it actually understands. So word linear equations means it'll create something like this, where you can use the equation editor to make any changes to the equation. If it's in a in a non-professional format, you can always change it in a professional format just with the using the drop down. So, using those as some terms that that the AI can understand. Okay, what are we asking it to do, right? So I have the sample prompt over here where you have to specifically tell what you're wanting, right? So you can take that document that's handwritten, feed it into the Chat GPT, and then give it a little prompt. And here's a sample prompt, and I can share this slide deck with you so you have this. So you're saying preserve all the steps, derivations, and answers exactly. So that's one thing that you have to tell ChatGPT, because it tries to summarize everything. So you want it exactly as it is. And then you just want those equations, you want them in word linear equation syntax. So you have to kind of specifically tell what you want. Insert all equations using words native equation objects. So then it produces it in a form that's actually helps you to edit it using the equation editor. place each equation on its own line. Do not embed math inside sentences. So you're giving those specific kind of directions. And I, using that prompt, was able to take this kind of a document, which was handwritten, and convert it into a Word document where the equations, I could just go into the equations, just click into the equations, and it opened up into a equation editor where I was able to change them into professional. If it was not looking like, a normal equation, probably like a LaTeX format, you can change it to professional, and they all look readable, just like someone would want it to be. And then you might have some equations that are inline that don't automatically, work. So then you can go ahead and use the equation editor to make those, change those. So it does most of the work for you, right? You're not going and recreating this document, trying to write each and every equation. So it just speeds up the process. But again, human intervention, human judgment. You want to review that document and make sure that everything looks like you wanted it to look. I have a little arcade video here that you can go and visit. It goes through how you exactly starting from ChatGPT, how you upload your document and how you can get the Word document and then make those little changes in the Word document. So it just walks you through those steps. So key takeaways for this, accessible STEM content depends on structure. So you have to keep that in mind. If you want assistive technology to read any kind of math equations, make sure you are using the right programs in your content editors. AI can help, but only when prompts are explicit. So you will have to play with the prompts, like the prompts that I have shared with you. They may not work right away for you, but then keep giving AI your feedback, because now you know what you want, right? Once you have the correct, the idea in your head that this is what I want, you keep giving that feedback to AI and it'll keep making those changes. So you just have to work with AI the first few times. And then once you get that prompt that works for you, then it becomes easy for your future documents that you're trying to remediate. So AI output is just the starting point. You always have to review for accuracy. With chemistry, this example, we went with Equatio because we found that even though math was easily transcribed into a document, in a Word document, which was readable by screen readers, AI wasn't able to really produce chemistry kind of equations, which, are slightly different from math equations. It couldn't really handle those very well. So we went with Equatio, which is another tool that's available to faculty, staff, and students. So students can also use that tool. So if you haven't used that tool, please take a look at that tool. That tool has a lot to offer, and it does a pretty good job with chemistry equations. So chemistry, or other like other equations that may not be very like mathematical expressions, it it works with all of that too. So it also uses an AI kind of a machine to read those, but it does a much better job than what you would get from any AI, like ChatGPT. So again, we are looking at some scanned documents with handwritten equations. There's a link to the Equatio. If you don't have information, you can go there and get information of how you can access Equatio. So this Equatio tool, it helps in different ways. It's a digital equation editor designed to make math and science content digital and accessible. You can use it with different, so it comes as an extension, and you can use it with any kind of content editor that you're working with. It also accepts input by speech to text, typing, handwriting, different formats. And then it has this screenshot reader, which acts as almost like, it is actually AI technology, but it does a pretty good job of reading chemistry kind of equations. So it converts handwritten, scanned, or image-based chemistry content into accessible digital expressions. So what you have to just do is click on the screenshot reader. You have your document open, and then you have this extension that you open right below the document. It opens up like a tool, like a bar under the document, and then you just click on the screenshot reader, create a little rectangle around the equation that you're trying to read, and it kind of reads it out. It reads out whatever it sees in that equation. And then there's a three-dot menu which you can open up, and it allows you to do different functions. It'll allow you to copy as LaTeX, as a MathML, copy HTML, and then you can also edit it in Equatio. So when you click Edit in Equatio, it opens up an equation editor where you can make certain changes to it. So if it doesn't give you exactly what you're wanting it to give you, like over here, oh, over here you can see in this image, I have it so tiny. It placed some characters in between the 4 and the S, like a tilde sign, which you don't want. So you can go into that editor and you can remove those, make those edits, and then insert the math into your document. So, it's as easy as that. And while you're creating your math content, also you can use Equatio. That way, you have your documents, even if you're handwriting in the editor, so you can handwrite, you can speak to it, you can, there are different ways in which you can input. So if you're using a document, uh, what do you call, a document reader in your handwriting, you can actually take that and have it converted into a digital format that you can upload into your document. So a pretty easy and good tool, I would say, if you're working with chemistry kind of content. So it can, it's pretty accurate. You can make some changes if needed, faster than recreating content. And you can also use that screenshot reader to even remediate some of your documents that are scanned documents by just copying. It has this, you can copy what it's saying, what it speaks out. So the spoken text can also be copied, and you can paste it as a alt text for those equations. So you can use it to remediate your equations too. And we actually have another session coming up tomorrow on AI in STEM accessibility. So look for, if you are interested, or if you know anybody who's interested in that kind of a workshop, you can, share that information with them. And this is our email and website where you can see all the resources that we have. We have toolkits, we have on-demand workshops, recordings, and you can reach us with any questions that you have. So that's what I had for you today. Any questions?
Thank you to Pati and Amy in the background. That was awesome.
Thank you. What's the date I signed up?
Agreed. That was phenomenal. Well done. Well
Thank
done.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Were there any questions, Alejandra? You pulling those? Okay, let's
There were
see.
some comments in the chat about
Textbook images that have low contrast. Yeah, I mean, so you're talking about, are you talking just about the textbook? I mean, that would be something that you know, we're just talking about digital content. That would be something that you have to talk to the textbook editor. But if you're talking about scanning that and making it digital, then I mean, if it's an image, I don't think you can use ChatGPT to kind of transcribe those kinds of documents. They'll probably have to be recreated. Is it possible to get higher quality images from the publisher? Yeah, right. Are you pulling those images out of the book as part of the... Okay. There's already been that conversation. It is digitally provided. Publisher, they don't update. Okay, good.
So yeah, I'm sorry, I had to change computer and I because one of mine. So I was asking this low contrast images. The issue is that so I like to use textbook images because they are familiar to students. So it is exactly what is in the textbook, and many of them, I mean, they look fantastic, but they are marked as low contrast quality. Like they have this quality a limit, and I can't really do anything with that because I can't really edit. Oftentimes, it's just too complicated, like too complex to edit. Maybe light blue background, light blue against white background, because that would be maybe the cytosol or something like that. But it's just like I figured that uh, we cannot do too much about it. I just wanted to mention as an issue. It just takes down a little bit the accessibility score. But right now, up until the publishers are not catching up, and most likely that would be in future editions. Because in between editions they don't change the image. Like I'm guessing that in their next edition they're gonna be forced to update their images. But up until that point, we are facing to this issue as well in images in biology, in STEM images, or in I don't know, in chemistry too. The textbooks are full with these kind of images, like yeah, almost all of the images. And sometimes I can Photoshop it, pull up the contrast, but sometimes I cannot really do too much about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just an issue. That's all what I wanted to mention.
Have you reached out to the library at all to see if they...
For why? For what would be the question I'm asking the library?
If they could give you a better version of that.
I didn't even think about, because it is it is a publisher image what I'm talking about. So the library does not have this kind of things. But I can ask, but I don't think that they would have it. It's a lot of designer work to redo these images. So I imagine that they would be doing. It doesn't bring down the accessibility score too much, but it does anyway. It does a little.
Yeah, I mean, you could reach out to the library and see what they have to say.
Okay, I can ask and I let you guys know.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, sure. That's a good problem that you bring up.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the lecture.
You're welcome.
Mariana, there's a lot of comments in the chat in support of your question. And just in some, they've asked if it was a library book. I've suggested checking out open educational resources, because if you're talking about like a basic cell image, there's hundreds of those, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those in OER textbooks.
Yeah. I see. I know I can replace it. So I do know it. I just up until now I was biased towards using the images from the required text, because that I believe that makes students' life easier. They in the lecture they see a similar image, a familiar image, etc. But yeah,
Okay.
I can use a different image. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there other comments or questions for Tapati? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Tapati. I really appreciate your coming
You're
and
welcome.
chatting about this and giving a preview of your presentation tomorrow. And I think you dropped that information. Somebody dropped that information in the chat. Here it is.
I'll share the slide deck link over here so that you have it.
Javier just posted about it. I'll repost it for you. And there's the slide deck. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alejandro.
Okay. So for the good of the order, are there any other questions or comments that we need to discuss or we want to discuss, or now we've just got open forum at this point? Any accessibility challenges or comments or ideas?
I mean, I can share that. This is more on the educational side. Oops, hopefully you can't hear my dogs barking in the background. Okay, good. It's just me then. I'll enjoy it. But for the marketing communication side of things, in terms of alt text and alt description, I know this kind of made me realize that I could bring those back to the group more to see what they think. One of the things I've been doing recently is we have, images sometimes that are aesthetic, but they really are part of the experience of whatever kind of content that we are sharing. And so sometimes I actually take a crack at describing them in more detail as opposed to just leaving the alt field blank. So I think one of my takeaways from this is, maybe I could get more thoughts from this group and share out more in the chat. And see what you all think of those when I do them.
Other comments? Okay. All right. Well, think that's it. That's all I got. Give you 8 minutes back in your day, if you'd like. Thank you so much for meeting today. Our next meeting is the third Tuesday at 10 a.m. Hopefully that still works for everybody. If it doesn't, we can always reschedule. Yeah, it's on the 21st right now. That's what I have it. So, all right. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you.